This woman is trying to get into the house, but her access is being blocked, and it's her own home.
Okay, hey! You want to do assault? You want to
Get out of my home!
In an upmarket, there is a popular device or instrument that's used by buyers called a rent back, otherwise known as a
Post Settlement Occupancy Agreement.
Yes, Crystal helps with most of the contracts, so I use more of the generic terms and she will use more of the technical terms, right? And so the reason why buyers use this tool is because it offers the seller an opportunity to stay in the property while they are either searching for a new home or they're getting ready to leave the area, right? So we've even had clients that have used this product to sell their property maybe in the springtime when they were going to move in the summertime. It's advantageous for more the seller than the buyer, but it does come with its risk, right? And we're actually going to react to a video that's out right now about a unique case that I think that everyone who is thinking about doing a rent back, either on the buy side or the sell side, should watch this video so that they can understand the risk associated with this.
I think that this year we've probably seen more rent backs than in previous years combined.
Right. Well, I mean, rent backs are more a product that's used in upmarkets. So because homes are selling in, under 2 weeks, you're starting to see more people become more creative. Buyers really becoming more creative with their offers.
Yeah, so one of the things, I know you're not really a proponent of rent backs, and I think that this video we're about to watch right now is gonna really hammer home one of those reasons you're not really a fan.
Right, rent backs just have risks that I don't think that either the seller or the buyer really understands. I know it's a tool that's used and, we work for our clients and our clients kind of tell us what they would like us to use and we let them know all of the available tools that are available to them in the contract. This is just one of the tools I dislike the most. I feel
it's
like
a risky tool.
It's risky.
And in an up market like this, buyers become more and more risky.
Yes, they become more risk takers.
Yeah.
They throw caution to the wind through the home inspection, through the appraisal, through financing. And now we're about to see something, the rent back. This is a tool that really, you don't really feel the effects of it until after you buy the property.
Yes, it's all good until it isn't.
Right.
It's one of those situations where everything seems like it's going fine until it absolutely is not going fine. And so that's what we're going to check out in this video.
This woman is trying to get into the house, but her access is being blocked, and it's her own home.
Okay, hey! You want to do assault? You want to
Get out of my home!
Tracy Albert and her husband Miles.
Okay, so now you can see this is actually a case where this buyer bought a property and the seller has refused to leave. And
at the end of the term of the rent back,
Right. This is one of the things I fear for my clients, right? Because I am much more of a calculated individual. Also, I've been in business for 13 years now. And you see a thing or two, right? I think one of the terms they use to describe a professional is somebody who knows everything that can go wrong, right? And this is one of those things that could go wrong, right? Like the buyer purchased the property, the seller then signs this agreement that says that they're going to rent back the property or a post settlement occupancy
until a certain date.
Until a certain date, right? And so even in the document, it kind of has like this fuzzy language that says that this is not a lease, right? This is not a lease. You're not a landlord. The owner isn't a tenant, right? It has all of this this language that kind of just muddies up the water on what actually is this instrument. What is this?
What's the agreement?
What is the agreement, right? And so one of the things I know is that judges don't care about our paperwork. Judges don't care. Judges are going to, if you got into a situation where you had to sue somebody to perform, the judge is going to look at the transaction, right? They're going to look at the facts. And if you looked at the facts, this type of transaction, this type of instrument looks like a lease, right?
Even if it's not that, it's still, you have to get to that point. You still have to get to court. It's not just as simple as move out today, like we're seeing with this couple. You can go there, but you can't forcibly remove them, which is what they're attempting to do right here.
And you know who else you can't forcibly remove? A tenant in a lease. That's right. But let's watch some more of this video so that we can kind of break down everything that's going on here. And just remember, we're not attorneys, right? We're real estate agents. I'm a real estate agent. My wife is the administrative person. She handles all the admin stuff. But we did stay at a Holiday Inn Express. That joke will land nicely for the older crowd, right? If you're with me, all the 80s babies and above or below. Okay, so let's look at the rest of this video.
Used their savings to buy this 4-bedroom dream home in Riverside, California 14 months ago, but they have not been able to move in, even though they've been paying the mortgage every month.
He just said he wasn't leaving. That was it. Wasn't going to leave the house, barricaded himself in the house.
Okay, so you see, he said that the guy just said he wasn't going to leave. When you buy a house and the house is already tenant occupied, you have to be respectful, or you have to honor the existing lease if there's a tenant in the property. This individual who lives in the property now, even though they have no, right to be in the property, you still have to go through the proper steps to remove them from the property. And this is the part of the rent back or the post settlement occupancy I dislike the most. The language is fuzzy when it comes to how do I get this person out of my house if they decide not to leave?
Yeah, well, even, and you can speak to this, there's language in there, right, that says what you can do. Right. But it still relies on you taking this person to court. You
got to take them to court. And what's the difference between taking this person to court and taking a tenant to court if you want to evict them? There is no difference, right? Like I said, this is why I dislike the post-settlement occupancy. I try to get our clients to use other tools.
In this market, we say that. And at the same time, how many clients, both sellers and buyers just over the summer have used them? And that's because in this market, it's been so hard for everyone to find a property that sellers can't put an offer on a property until their house is under contract. And so it's just like this, the domino effect where one transaction relies on the next, which, by the way, the house you're buying is also relying on the seller of that property finding a property. And so it's just this domino effect. And so, like you said, it's a tool, and sometimes it's one of those necessary evils. And in this market, we had a client recently who they had a rent back on their property, and they didn't really start looking for properties themselves until late in the process when their rent back was almost up. And so every property they found that they were interested in
wanted a rent back.
Needed a rent back. And so then that presented a problem for them in finding their next home. So it's just a tough situation where everyone is doing the rent back. If you're not offering the rent back.
Right.
At one point it was like, oh, rent backs. Okay, well, you're going to pay my mortgage while you're renting my property. Well, while you're living in my house.
On the buy side.
On the buy side, right?
So the buy side would rent back the property to the seller, but then the seller would just pay either the market rate or the mortgage for the rent back. Because really you were doing the seller a favor.
You're doing me a solid, right? You're letting me stay at the house, while my home is being built or while I'm looking for my property, whatever.
Exactly.
And so you're doing me a favor. But in this market,
the seller is actually doing you a favor
by letting you buy their house.
Right, yes.
And so you're going to do that at what cost? Yeah. A lot of buyers are doing it at what cost?
Zero.
Zero. Like, hey, I'm going to pay my mortgage.
Right.
And you are going to get to stay here. So, it's a win for you, seller.
Yes. Now, some people may be watching this because we've had clients we've had to explain this to where they are like, I'm not going to let somebody stay in my house for free. I'm not going to let them stay in my house for free. That's not the best way to look at it, right? You could look at it that way, but the best way to look at it is to say that what is your mortgage payment per month? You're paying that much more for the property, right? So just tack that on to what you're paying for the property, and it's really just an incentive. Now, like I said, this video here kind of shows you why this idea is risky, right? But let's finish
it, because then towards the end, I want to talk about why it's also risky for the seller.
Gotcha.
So who's the guy blocking their way, refusing them entrance to their own home? It's the previous owner.
Do you think that this was his plan from the beginning?
Yes.
Realtor Chris Taylor says he's never seen anything like this in 18 years selling homes.
Every I was dotted, T was crossed, everything that could have been done was done. And there's nothing that could have been done to actually prevent this.
The previous owner of this home is now relying on the coronavirus eviction moratorium, which prevents anyone from getting kicked out of their home during the pandemic. But the couple says that they closed on this house in January 2020, before any government mandate was put into effect.
Okay, so this is a part of the video that's a little dishonest, right? And the reason why it's a little dishonest is because, yes, the couple closed on the property in January, but they most likely had a rent back that was either 30 days, 60 days, 90 days.
More than likely 60 days,
right?
We financed it.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, 60 days. So by that point, we don't know when in January. It could be January 31st.
Right.
Well, by March 30th,
the
eviction moratorium is already in place. Coronavirus is all over the U.S. at that point. So I think that is a little bit of sneaky reporting there, where they're not being full forthright with us.
Right. They're not being transparent.
Yeah.
Also, most people are going to watch this. They're not real estate agents, so they don't know what's going on. If the buyer, let's assume that the buyer closed on the property January 31st, right? If they closed on it January 31st and they had and the client negotiated a 60-day rent back, then that means that the coronavirus occurred.
The eviction
the
moratorium
government
is in
started
place.
to respond, right? And so this individual may not have done this
out of spite.
They
may
right.
have lost their job or not had a place to go after. But what we're going to see is this real estate attorney is going to come on and he's going to say, you know, I think he never intended on moving. He had boxes. Well, first of all, when you do the rent back, there's not going to be boxes already packed.
There's no need to have boxes.
Why would boxes be packed if I'm staying there extra 60 days?
You're staying at the property, right? Yeah.
Right, I'm staying extra 60 days.
You would have already closed.
I'm not packing boxes. So that's the first thing.
We've never had a rent back where the seller was already
packed,
moving.
Yeah, moving when you do the walkthrough.
Exactly.
But so that's the first thing. But then the second thing is he's like, you know, they had no intention of moving. We don't know that because we don't know what the implications were after the coronavirus.
Exactly. Things got weird quick.
Yeah, I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. We are not excusing what this guy and his family did.
Right.
We're just saying that it's maybe a bit sensationalized. That's all.
Yes, excellent.
Which television tends to be.
That's true. So let's look at some more of this video and wrap it up.
I definitely think it's a case of fraud, that he knew he wasn't going to move out, staged boxes to look like he was going to move out, and then stayed behind.
The Alberts say the courts keep pushing their case back.
I can't walk onto the lot. I was told that would be trespassing. I've been there. The sheriffs have told me to leave.
The reason why the sheriff told her to leave is because she does not have the right to be on the property, because while she is the owner of the property, someone else lives there.
Yes, and there are certain rules in regards to when notice that you have to give.
Right.
You can't just show up.
There's rules. There's rules to real estate. So again, this is another part of the reporting that's, you know, kind of gray area. They're dealing with people who don't really necessarily understand or know the laws or the reasons why these systems work like this. But there are some landlords that are shady individuals, right? And they've done some things that...
Which is why you have the laws in place, right?
You have the law, right? The law didn't just get created for
no
fun,
reason.
right?
Yeah.
So it was a response to somebody. So let's watch some more of this delicious video.
The alleged squatter, Hassan Bakhtar, and his family have apparently stopped taking care of the property. So all of this was beautiful when you bought it.
Beautiful and green, the trees, beautiful palm trees that are all yellow. There's all weeds.
Okay, so these people, the homeowners, say that this guy, the tenant who is no longer living at the property, isn't taking care of the grass. And then in the very next part of the video, they show this guy knocking on their door. I mean, would you come outside the property? You wouldn't come outside the property. You wouldn't really be taking care of the property if this is your goal to stay in the property. See, this is the part of the reporting. I mean, if these people are really trying to get over, which we don't know, right? We don't know if they're trying to get over.
Well, I mean, I think we know they're trying to get over. I mean, they're living in a house. Regardless, even if he lost a job, whatever, I still believe that he's trying to get over because he's been in these people's house for nearly a year at this point.
Right. What I'm saying is that why would he come outside?
Oh, no, he has no reason to.
There's no reason to come outside. I mean, the court is in his favor, and these people are, you know, visibly, and they should be upset, right? Because they're paying the bill. They still have to pay the mortgage if they have a mortgage on the property.
They're paying the mortgage. There's an HOA.
HOA taxes.
So for me, I'm like, well, isn't the HOA getting on you about the grass? Like, why are you letting the home go into disrepair? At least the exterior.
That's another gray area, right? Like even
who's responsible? Because if you had a lease, it would tell you, is lawn care included? I would be inclined to take care of the lawn myself if I were the homeowner, because at some point I want to get the house back.
Right.
So now I have to deal with this lawn. She's saying that the palm trees are dying. I mean, what's the cost to replace our revitalized palm trees, you know?
Right. It's tough position too. If they're paying for 2 mortgages too, so they may be financially strapped.
Well, yeah, they may not have the cash to even take care of the lawn, because obviously they're still living somewhere.
They have to be living somewhere. That's true. It's a tough spot for both parties.
Yeah.
More so.
One a little more than the other,
Right,
though,
one.
just so you know, not empathizing with the seller here.
Gotcha.
Our cameras were there when the homeowner tried one more time to get inside.
Hello?
You think he's home?
Yeah, he doesn't leave.
I also tried to talk to the family, Mr. Bakhtar, Jim Murray from Inside Edition, but no one came to the door. What would you say to him if he came to the door now?
Get out of my house.
So that was it. That's the rest of that video. Now you wanted to bring to everybody's attention.
Well, something that happened with some clients, a couple of clients this summer.
Yes.
But we've never had a situation ever the 13 years that you've been in business where there was a holdover tenant, whether it be on a lease or even a seller who won't vacate after a seller rent back or a Post Settlement Occupancy Agreement. But we have had a few issues come up. Just this summer, we had questions from clients because we had one situation where during the rent back, something broke inside the home. So then the seller wanted to know, our client was a seller, and she wanted to know, well, am I responsible for fixing this?
Right.
There was an issue with the HVAC. And so she wanted to know, was she responsible for fixing that? And our broker let her know.
You are responsible.
You are responsible, right?
You broke it, you fix it.
Yeah. You're still living there until you turn it over. The broker said she had to fix it. And at the same time, another client vacated, did the walkthrough with the buyer, the new buyer. You did the walkthrough with the co-broker.
Right.
And the next day I got an email from the co-broker saying, hey, the fridge is broken.
Right. And so that buyer had to prove that the fridge was broken.
Well, yes. So when there is a Post Settlement Occupancy Agreement, usually there is a deposit held, depending, right? Because we're in this fuzzy market.
Right.
So, but usually even in this market, there's also some type of deposit held.
That's true.
And so the buyer in that situation was requesting a new refrigerator or a repair of the refrigerator from our client's deposit.
Yes, and our client just moved out, and she said that
she took her peas out of the freezer.
Yeah,
she was like, the frozen food from that house is in my freezer right now.
Exactly.
She only moved a half mile away.
That's true. So that was another situation. I mean, of course, it got worked out for our client. The buyer hired an
appliance repair company to come out. Turns out it was fine. It didn't even need a repair.
Right.
It was fine, and so that did work out. However, our client, the seller, was upset because she was like, well, I want proof. She's like, I'm not going to take this person's word for it. I'm not going to let them hold up my money. But still, it is risky. It's risky for both parties.
Right.
Which is why, as you've always said, you're not a big fan, but sometimes the market demands it.
That's true. So if you have any questions, if you have any experience with rentbacks that are post-settlement occupancies that either went great or that didn't go according to plan, please post it down below in the comment section. If you have any questions, real estate questions, my contact information will be, we'll put it right here. My phone number and email address will be right there. There's also a link in the description to the Perfect Home questionnaire if you want to schedule a Zoom session with me and we could talk about your relocation needs, your buying needs, your selling needs, or investing in real estate. Well, Crystal, thanks for joining me on another episode. I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you for having me. For anyone who doesn't know, I primarily work behind the scenes in our company. And so you've probably seen me in a few of the more recent videos. Abraham has roped me into being on camera sometimes now.
That's true, that's true. You know, she has a lot of institutional knowledge that we're trying to extract from her on these videos. So that's it. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.